Do deepfakes make a spit take?
Let's talk about that.
Dude, I was thinking in my head I wanted you to say that. It's like a proper GMM intro.
I know, right? But I
Yeah.
did that. I coughed and I did that.
You coughed and you did it, yeah, ow.
Talk about that.
Okay, we're gonna get copyrighted, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna copyright. The Red Link's gonna sue us now.
This is not Good Mythical Morning. This is the Secret to Time Travel podcast with Tom Hall and David Croft.
Better than better than Good Mythical Morning.
Yeah, we're better than them. And this is episode 11.
We surpassed them in episode 11.
After 10 episodes, we've already surpassed them. You know, the sky's the limit. No, not even the sky's the limit. Elon Musk's car is the limit.
Oh god, didn't he launch into space or something?
Something like that. I don't know. Sounds pretty loony. Anyway, as you sort of heard in our thingy, our teaser thing that we did, we're gonna be talking about something called deepfakes.
Yes.
More specifically, whether or not these deepfakes, quote unquote, are ethical or not.
I vote nay.
Okay, well, let's first say what deepfakes are, because some people may not know what deepfakes are. I myself only found out what they were a few days ago when I encountered the subreddit associated with deepfakes.
r/deepfakes?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I know very little about deepfakes. All I know is that AIs put whatever face on like other people's bodies, man, and
yeah.
you know.
Now, usually we do very little preparation, and today is totally the same. We've basically done no preparation, but you know what? I've been thinking about this, and I'm ready to talk about it. I've got my pajamas on, and I'm ready. I feel good.
I mean, you have your pajamas on, and it's 12 a.m., 12 p.m.
It is 12 p.m., but you know what I say? It's never too early for pajamas.
I mean, it's too late for pajamas. It's not too early.
I mean, I put on the pajamas after previously not wearing pajamas.
You're a very strange person, David. Well, okay. So, deepfakes. Yeah, would you like to explain a bit more? Because I don't know anything.
Alright, I'll explain. So basically, deepfakes is a sort of, from what I understand, it's a sort of technology that this guy has invented, and this technology basically using loads of photos you have of okay, let's say for example you wanna put your face on Obama's body, or while on the video of him giving one of his State of the Unions, for example, right? So you would then like feed in a bunch of photos of yourself into the technology, and it just sort of does some magic technology stuff, and then it puts your face on the video, and it's like it tries to be as realistic as possible. It doesn't look super realistic, but for the time being at least, but yeah, it sort of does it. I mean, it does look like your face is on the person's body, you know.
It opens up opportunities for terrorists and Putin.
Sure.
Because they hate America. They could
and
release a video saying, you know, Donald Trump confesses to rape allegations or something.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know.
Okay, well, anyway, so while the technology itself is not harmful, its applications are. Or potential, while it's the technology itself is not harmful, the potential applications are potentially harmful. I'm using potentially a lot, potentially.
Potentially.
So I mean, one of the main uses of the technology, if you have ever seen r/deep, it doesn't exist anymore. r/deepfakes, it doesn't exist anymore. It's been banned by Reddit. But anyway, if you've seen r/deepfakes before, it's mostly NSFW content. And Tom, what does NSFW stand for?
It's not safe for wieners.
Okay.
Not safe for work.
All right. Yeah. That
Okay.
is the correct.
Terminology.
The correct whatever it is called for NSFW. Not
Yes.
safe for work. So yeah, it's an NSFW. A lot of the content posted there is NSFW because people have put certain people's faces on other people, other very different sort of people's bodies. Adult film actors, yes.
And actresses, yeah.
Yes, mostly actresses, but actors work too, yeah. And so that was what led to r/deepfakes being banned by Reddit. That content, but that's not the only thing you can use it for. There's this one guy who put his wife on the Tonight Show.
What?
Yeah, I don't know what the celebrity was, but he put his wife's face on the body of a celebrity getting interviewed by Fallon, and then she was on the Tonight Show.
Wow, that's.
I mean, she wasn't actually put on the Tonight Show, but like
I know. It's computer magic.
Yes, computer magic putting her on the Tonight Show. So if I can find a photo of that, I'll put it there. If I can find a photo, that is.
Well, I don't know. Wait. AI Weekly. Can tech platforms police themselves in deepfake-filled future?
What?
I don't know what it's saying.
Alright, okay, well now we can get to the proper topic at hand. Now that we've sort of introduced what deepfakes are. Are they ethical?
I don't know, man. I don't think they are.
Well, what's your opinion?
What?
What's your opinion? Are they ethical? Are they not ethical? Should they be banned? Should they not be banned?
I don't know. I don't know, man. People are into really weird stuff, and weirder things have happened on the internet, I believe.
Right, but what do you think, though? Do you think it's right that people can do this, and they do this?
No. Obviously not. Like, people could do it for, like, malicious things,
Right, so if it were up to you, you would,
I would not. I would ban them.
You would be, much like Reddit has actually done now.
Yeah, much like Reddit.
Right, yeah, just
people,
like Reddit.
People could do it for, like for example, right? I'm thinking, you and me are enemies.
Okay.
I hate you.
Yeah.
You suck, okay? And I want to do something that destroys your life. Deepfakes. I could just put your face on, like, I don't know, NSFW content, and people would be like, whoa, is that really now? Okay, well.
Right, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, yes. Embarrass you in front of everyone,
Yeah, so it's a sort of like a... I mean, yeah. It's like some celebrities have sticking it to the man tapes.
Yeah, sticking it to the man tape, yeah. They could put like our current president on there, or like any other president.
Yeah, and it would look bad for them.
Yeah, but as you said like before, it's not that realistic.
But as the technology develops.
Huh?
But as the technology develops.
Yeah. Then it will become a really big problem.
Mm-hmm. Right, because it can be, stop barking, neighbors' dogs.
What's with you against dogs, man?
I have nothing against dogs. It's just that they're scary because they might bite me.
I have a dog. She never bites me.
Yeah, well, I don't know, but the possibility is still there. Just because it's never happened doesn't mean it's not possible.
Okay, while we're doing this podcast, I'm actually doing some research during the podcast.
That is the best way to go about things. That's actually the best way to, like, if you want to pass an exam, right, you should study during the exam.
Exactly. This is what I'm doing. This is what all people do.
Like, in general, right, if you were to study during an exam, you would do better in the exam than studying before the exam.
Exactly. This is how we do it here in the Secret to Time Travel. We don't study before the podcast, we study during the podcast.
Exactly. And that's the secret to time travel. Just kidding.
Okay. Well, apparently...
We will never reveal the secret to time travel until our final episode, which is never going to happen because we're going to do this forever. Because we're time travelers.
Until one of us dies, then it's just going to be a sad thing.
Oh, yeah, then it's going to be a sad
episode.
Sad job.
Okay.
Alright, but back to the deepfakes. Okay, so here's how I see it, right?
Alright.
And this is okay, so I first read about it a couple days ago. I was like, oh, okay, seems interesting. I didn't have any more incisive thoughts about or is incisive the word? More introspective thoughts about it, more so than, oh, it seems cool. But then a couple days later when it gets banned,
Yeah.
I send the article to a friend of mine, and then I start thinking about it more, and I'm like, you know what? Actually, this isn't just some weird thing Reddit decided to do on a random Tuesday like any other day. No, like, this is actually pretty terrible. because it's a sort of well, because obviously it's a consent issue, right?
Yeah.
But then some people might make the argument that it's not really a consent issue because it's not really them on the video. It's just them sort of plastered onto someone else, and the person who actually is the person in the video has given consent, generally.
Yeah.
And so I understand that argument, but at the same time I do think the argument doesn't make sense, but it's for another reason, because the person whose photos you're using to put on the video, they have not given you consent to do the things you would be doing if you were to be seeing one of those videos.
What?
I mean, like, for example, right? The people who are going to be seeing these videos, what are they doing while watching these videos?
Yeah, I get it.
Right. So them if a person has released content and has released content for the explicit purpose of that action, then it's consensual, fine. But if the person, and for most of these cases it's actresses, right? So let's just take a random actress.
Emma Watson.
Okay, Emma Watson. Like, Emma Watson has made a bunch of movies, but these movies are for different things. Like, they're not for that.
Yeah.
And so there is no consent there for it to be used.
Emma Watson. Yeah.
Emma Watson. So it's for it to be used, and then another issue I'm thinking about is this sort of like a mental rape?
That's what I was actually gonna.
I think that's the proper phrase for
Would
this.
this classify as a kind of rape?
I think so. That's what I thought. That's what I think.
It's non-consensual. Plus, you're putting someone's face on an adult actress or actor, and they're doing it. They're sticking it to the man, They're
sticking it to the man, yeah. There's gonna be people who watch this who don't understand what sticking it to the man is, so I'm gonna have to remember to put it somewhere.
Description below.
Somewhere. I'll find a way, man. Just like Drake and Josh. But yeah, exactly. It's like we
I was gonna sing the theme song, but I completely forgot.
Copyrights, man. YouTube is awful.
Gosh.
And that's how we get demonetized. Oh wait, we're not even monetized in the first place.
For calling YouTube awful, man.
We get our video removed if we call YouTube awful. That may be true.
Butthurt. Okay.
Yeah, man, that's just so terrible. Like, Steve Wozniacki, like, okay, that's Apple. What am I thinking?
Apple. Steve Wozniacki.
I forgot who the YouTube CEO is. I forgot her name.
I don't know her name. Oh, it popped into my head. It's Susan Wojcicki.
Mike Wazowski? Alright, we'll call her Mike Wazowski. So basically, yeah, it is, I think, a sort of mental rape, because... And then here's another... And then when I thought of the mental rape thing, right, I thought of another thing. You know what I thought of?
What?
That Black Mirror episode, The Entire History of You.
The Entire History of You. Oh, yeah! Wait, why?
Okay, here's why. And look, I think I've told you, that is my absolute favorite Black Mirror episode. I wouldn't call myself a Black Mirror fan. I do think some of the episodes are good, but other episodes are kind of meh. So I wouldn't call myself a fan, but if it's a good episode, I'm going to call it a good episode. And The Entire History of You, I think, is the absolute best episode of the series, although I haven't watched certain episodes. I mean, I've seen a lot of the big ones. I've seen San Junipero, I've seen Hated in the Nation, I've seen USS Callister, I've seen Nosedive, So I've seen a lot of episodes that most people would call good, and for me, among the episodes I've seen, Entire History of You is the best. Close second is Hated in the Nation, but Entire History of You is the best. And so the issue in that episode is that people. Okay, well, the issue in that episode is a dude is suspecting his wife of cheating on him, right?
Okay.
And so using the technology in the episode of having everything you see be recorded and saved onto some memory thing that I don't remember the word for.
Let's just call it something sciencey.
Yeah, onto something sciencey. They saved it onto something sciencey.
Okay, that's not what I was. But fine.
But it works.
But it works. Something sciencey.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, you know.
If it is broke, still don't fix it. Anyway, but so they save it onto something sciencey, and because of that, he's able to go back and see that my wife did cheat on me. And then that's not where it ends. If you haven't seen the episode, by the way, you should probably stop watching or stop listening to this part, or just watch the episode right now, because it is a very good episode.
Let's just put it in the title, man, like spoilers for...
I'm not going to put it in the title, but I'll just put a thing on the video.
What do you... okay, I don't know how, but okay.
I'll edit some text there, you know. So... what happens is, where was I?
I accidentally played a video on Google.
Wait, where was I? Oh man, that was terrible. I've forgotten my place now.
You were talking about Black Mirror.
I mean, yeah, but like, what part of the So yeah, he sees, and then it doesn't quite end there. He decides to go back, and the guy his wife cheated on him with, he decides to go to that guy, straight up, threaten to kill the guy if he doesn't delete the recording of the act from his perspective, right?
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's kind of obvious why he's doing it, because the guy's kind of sleazy, you know. In the episode, he's kind of shown to be a sleazy-ish guy, and he doesn't want him to be sticking it to the man looking at that.
Yeah.
And so he makes him delete it. Now, here's my question, right?
Yeah.
Is that ethical? What that guy did in the episode?
I mean, he did it because he didn't want the guy to, you know what, I think
not the protagonist, the dude who the wife cheated on the husband with, is what that guy did, saving the recording and playing it back for his own purposes, is that ethical?
I don't think so.
Why not?
I don't think so, man, because the girls, like, okay, wait. No, right, that was during the marriage. I don't think so, because the girl, the wife was married, you know, obviously, and like...
I mean, well, there's that perspective that it's unethical because she was married, but from the in the sense of like...
Oh, no, plus that guy was married as well, because he had a wife. Was that his wife? Or...
Did he? I don't think he was married.
No, he was married. The other one. Because, like, remember the girl that walked out of the room and tried to call the police?
I haven't seen the episode in a year, so I don't know that, but...
I mean,
well, let's say hypothetically both parties weren't married, for the sake of discussion. Let's say both parties weren't married, but okay, so let's call him Greg.
Okay.
Greg is in a relationship with Sarah for like some time, like 3-4 months or something. They break up, and then Sarah is now in a relationship with John, and they're in a committed relationship. But Greg's a little bit of a sleaze. So John's like, I don't want Greg to keep that recording of back when they were sticking it to the man together. I don't want him to keep that recording. Whereas Greg's like, what do you... Why can't I keep the recording? It's my recording, it's my perspective, it's literally my past. So is Greg keeping the recording ethical?
Huh. Okay, keeping the recording, I think it's all right, I guess, because it's basically memory, right?
It is memory, but then in this situation, Sarah does not really feel comfortable with the idea of him sticking it to the man by himself, looking at that.
Okay, then I'm pretty sure then it's not ethical, I guess, because Sarah doesn't want it. He's sticking it to the man, to Sarah, and Sarah's in a relationship with what's his name, Adam? What was the first guy's name?
John. I called him John.
John, right? John. So I don't think so.
And I get what you and I understand that, and I probably think that as well. But here's what I can't really put my mind around, right? If we're gonna say that consent is something that you need to have at all times, before and during, but do you need consent after, and can you even withdraw consent after sticking it to the man?
After sticking it to the man? Wait, what do you mean withdraw consent after sticking it?
You can't withdraw consent. You can't just say like, oh, I'm fine with us doing this, before you do it, like, yeah, I'm fine with that. During, you're like, yeah, I'm fine with this, but then after, you're like, no, I'm not fine with it anymore. And so, and then applying it to our current situation, if a woman was to withdraw consent after doing it, the guy can't be, obviously he can't be tried as a criminal, right? Because you can't withdraw consent afterwards.
That's true, I guess.
But what about this situation then, as an impact of this technology?
I don't think it counts as anything rapey. I don't know, because they did it in the past, and that was consensual.
Right, and that part I think we both understand quite clearly. But then the part where it gets difficult and maybe we enter a little bit of a ethical gray area is the part where she's in a new relationship now and.
Okay, what about if it's not the technology? Okay, the technology is basically recording everything, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it kind of acts like memory in a way.
Sure, but then my question can also apply to.
Okay, but then it'll be like the guy, like, okay, without the technology, it'll just be memory. So the guy's like thinking about her, about that time, and then sticking it to the man to that time.
Right,
So
and is that ethical? Trying to remember that as you're sticking it to the man, is that ethical? Because the more I think about it, the more I think like that doesn't seem that ethical.
Yeah.
Imagining a specific person who hasn't really given you consent. I mean, maybe in the past has, but then now I'd imagine she wouldn't be very comfortable with that.
Yeah, that's true.
And so it seems very ethically cloudy for me in that situation.
Gosh. I guess not. I'm not sure, man. I really am not sure. Because people do that, like, in real life.
Right,
they think
yeah.
of people and they do
And
this.
I think a lot of us don't really bat an eye to it, but I think we probably might have to look into it more, because it is at its worst, it's a sort of mental rape, and at its best it's nothing, but that's quite a big discrepancy,
Yeah, I guess.
And so that was the question, those were the questions that were coming to mind as I was rethinking about it a few days ago when they banned it off Reddit.
And I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, people do it. I mean, that doesn't make it ethical in any way,
It doesn't make it ethical. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, your mic cut off there.
Yeah, my mic cut off. What was I talking about?
Hello? I was asking you, makes what ethical?
The thing, the sticking it to the man with the... thinking about people.
Right, you're saying it's ethical or unethical?
Unethical. I don't know. I don't know, man.
But these are the questions we gotta ask.
It's hard. It's a hard question.
It is difficult.
I think it's like opinion, I guess.
I suppose, but then I suppose, but then at the end of the day, whose opinion really matters here? Is it the person who has quote unquote withdrawn consent, or is it the person who's actually doing it? And so that's why it's difficult to really say. I guess it's an opinion thing, because these sort of things really kind of are things sort of critical to the question of like, are you doing good or are you doing bad? And so I feel like there does have to be a sort of an answer to whether or not it is universally good or universally bad. I think I'm leaning more to this is a bad thing that should not be done.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning to that as well, but I'm still...
But at the same time, can something like this really be enforced, and is it worth enforcing? Is it such a bit? Is it an ethical violation worth enforcing?
I mean, if we're talking about our situation right now, about the guy just sticking it to the man with the girl, I don't think that should be enforced, really. I mean...
Right.
Yeah. I don't think it should be enforced, because that's kind of pushing it, because like I said, it's kind of like memory, you know? You're thinking of someone and, you know...
I suppose, yeah. But if it actually...
Unless someone really wants to go to court with this, which is, I don't know, it just feels really dumb to me.
I suppose maybe it might seem ridiculous, and look, I don't want to be seen as this SJW character, because I'm certainly not, but it is... it is something I think probably might have to be considered, at least considered, if not agreed with, then at least considered.
I don't know, man. I mean, we've been talking about this for like half an hour, almost half an hour.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the point of the podcast, though.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you can't really get the grasp for everything.
But I think yeah, we've pretty much I mean, we're at 27 minutes now. I mean, we're good pretty much. I think we've sort of got into our answer, and our answer is inconclusive.
Your answer is what?
I think we've gotten into our answer, and the answer is inconclusive.
Inconclusive?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or would you say you have a firm opinion on this?
No, I don't believe I do.
Yeah, right. So
I don't think any of us do.
Right, it's essentially the same for me. Yeah, it's just I don't know. At this point, it's just questions without many answers.
We're just asking the questions without answers. Hopefully, our fans in the comments section will give answers.
But if anyone is listening, please give your opinions, because I think it's a very interesting topic. I think it's a very interesting idea that we're talking about here.
Yeah, I mean, this. Now that I think about it, this whole thing is kind of like I want to call it SJW kind of episode, you know, because they always talk about minor things being considered rape and stuff.
I mean,
right?
Yeah, and I mean, it again, all of this stuff does have to do with perspective. But if you're calling hitting someone rape, then obviously it's not. It's assault maybe, but it's not.
Assault, yeah.
But but it's not that. And so but here's the thing, right? I think, and this goes into my personal sort of way how I interact with people and how I interact with ideas, is that I think you should listen and someone said something along the lines of, to really understand something, you have to first assume it's true and then think about what are the implications if it were to be true. And if the implications are contradictory or just unreasonable, then you can then say, okay, I do not believe that's a thing, But if you think like, well, actually that's all very plausible and it all seems to make sense to me, then you may just have to say, okay, I understand now and I kind of think you might have a point. You know, and so I think a lot of people, and me as well, everyone's guilty of this. You know, they hear something, and because of the bias, the preconceived notions and the preconceived biases that they have, they let that influence the future decisions and the future beliefs they have when they first hear of something. And that's not necessarily fair, because we should probably be treating every issue as its own thing, and we shouldn't be just throwing it away with a bunch of other trash, you know?
Okay. Yeah, it's true.
So while I myself don't like SJWs, I think it is important to consider their arguments and say, okay, you're wrong. I think you're wrong, and here is why. You know, rather than being you're wrong, you're stupid, which is what a lot of people do.
Yeah, rather than being you're wrong, you're stupid, you should give a answer
you should really think about it before just assuming you're right. You know, yeah.
I thought you said assuming your rights as you were actually turning into an SJW.
No, but like, you know,
your privilege.
I mean, like, you should really think about it before, you should really think about it rather than just assuming you're right.
Yeah. You know, weigh your options and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, man. I'm looking at this GIF of a deep fake of Daisy Ridley. Fully clothed.
Hey, that's another thing, man. There was this interview with Carrie Fisher before she passed, and Daisy Ridley and John Boyega. John Boyega, who plays Finn.
Yeah. Our old buddy Finn.
Yeah.
Black as the sea.
And basically she was saying some stuff about how this one guy, like this 25-year-old guy, came up to her once and was like, every day from the ages of 12 to 22, I thought about you 3 times every day. And that's what Carrie Fisher said. And Carrie Fisher was like, oh, okay. She didn't seem too fazed by it.
I guess Carrie Fisher gets that a lot. Like she's probably seen all the.
Yeah, even more now that she's dead. That is so terrible.
Oh my gosh. Oh no. Rest in peace, Carrie Fisher.
Yeah, I think that's a good note to end it on. Oh wait, another thing I want to say is that on the topic of ethics and stuff, watch The Good Place. That's a great comedy philosophy thing. Comedy.
She dies.
What? Yeah, I mean, yes, the protagonist is dead in that show. That's not a spoiler. Literally, the premise is that she dies and she goes to heaven, and she kind of realizes, but wait, I was a terrible person. Why am I in heaven? And she's like, well, I gotta find a way to stay in here. So that's and so that's the premise of the show, and the show deals a lot with ethics, in a comedic way.
Well, I'm as I said before, I'm doing research on this while the video is happening. I have found a couple of stuff, but like your question, man, it's like took me to another world or something. Apparently, it takes 30 seconds to find banned deepfake AI smut on the internet.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Okay. I think we're done here. Anything else you want to say just before we finish?
AI gives porn peddlers a helping hand.
I'm speechless.